So let's start off by building the base. Um, and basically this is also going to be a 16 by 16 plot, as with pretty much everything else I build, because those are the towny chunk dimensions, so you can actually fit everything together nicely if you're playing on a server with that. Um, and as you can see, I've marked out the edges of a 16 by 16 plot, and what we're going to do in this case is, if we take the level of the grass to be water level, that's going to be, I suppose, the dimensions you're going to build your dock to, whether it's on a river or by the ocean or whatever. And basically what we're going to do is build up stacks 2 high of cobble, all along the outside perimeter, and each of these are going to be 2 high, and they're going to have a gap of 2 in between. So let's do that now and come back to it. So yeah, now that that's done, you can kind of see I've left a little bit of a gap between the actual edge of the plot where, well, I suppose if we call this side of it the waterfront, just leaving a bit more space allows us to build some small jetties and stone steps, whatever we might need to put in. And if you are confined to certain sized plots, then this is the way to go. So yeah, then next up on the inside, what we're going to do is basically fill it all with stone bricks. And I'm also going to take some dirt here, because what we want to do is fill in all this inside, and all the visible surfaces are going to have to be stone bricks. But what we can do to fill it up, just to be a bit cheaper, because everyone always ends up with stacks and stacks of dirt with nothing to do with, so if we just kind of do that, then basically the floor level is all going to look pretty, and we're going to save on stone bricks because those can get expensive in survival. So yeah, let me just do that all the way around. So yeah, now that that's been done, we've saved on a lot of resources by using dirt in the middle, and you can kind of see it's got a weird sort of formation to it. But yeah, what we're going to do next is take some stone slabs and place them around the edge, and that's just going to give kind of a nice border to the dock. Oops, I seem to have missed there. So if I just bring these all along here, that should give a much nicer border. And then otherwise, and I seem to have screwed it up slightly there, but never mind. Yeah, next up, pretty much all that's left is to do the arches. So just come in like that and do that the whole way along. And that's pretty much it. It just gives a very nice kind of facade to the dock. And if I show you them in kind of deeper water, you'll get to see they actually do look quite nice. They look a bit stunted here. So yeah, let's move on to some deeper water. So yeah, as you can see here, it's kind of we've had to build up the dock substantially to try and match everything, but it's still at the same level. So this would have previously been the grass level, where I just showed you that a minute ago, and I've kind of screwed up the water there. Having a slight frame rate drop, so apologies if that comes out in the video. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. Anyway, so what's important is if we just go below the water here, you can see in some places it's sticking out. Well, basically we've got materials under the stone, which you never really want to do. So that just kind of finishes off the effect nicely. And if you take a look at this from farther away, you can kind of see it's it's got a bit of a nicer effect. So yeah, that's pretty much it for the base. So let's move on to kind of I suppose our next, well, our first in a series of little buildings that you can populate your dock with. Alright, so the first building we're going to be covering is this. It's a Dockland warehouse, and basically the idea behind it is that it's kind of mixed between aesthetically pleasing and actually functional in Minecraft. So you can see we've got that big crane winch thing that I talked about it in an earlier tutorial. But you can see on the inside it's got a lot of storage, so it also has a pretty nice functional purpose. So overall, kind of the basis of any big dock area that you want to build. So yeah, for the moment I think we should just get started on the tutorial. Okay, so starting off in our Dockland base, you can basically see I've just set out 4 pillars to mark the actual framework. And basically, if you just come in 2 spaces from the edge of the stone slabs at the edge of the dock / harbor / whatever you want to call this big base thing, yeah, basically you're going to build pillars of 4 high, and those are going to be in each corner. So that's it for that phase. So next up, we filled in all the walls with cobble, and these only go 3 blocks high, so there's going to be an extra kind of pillar bit sticking up. I've also left a gap in the front here, and it's going to be 3 wide because you want a big, nice arch door for your warehouse, so you can take your carts in and out basically. So yeah, put down a double slab threshold, and that's about it for that phase. Next up, we basically fill in all the spaces along the tops of the walls with double slabs. And yeah, this just kind of gives a nice sort of finish to it. Divides up the floors nicely. For the actual doorway, what we're going to do is take some stone stairs and put them in upside down, like so. Optionally, if you want, you can also put in a little cobble slab in the middle, but just depends on which kind of look you prefer. It's very, very minor detail, so not too much to worry about there. Yeah, on the inside, what we're going to do now is build up a big ramp, because you can't just have a staircase in a warehouse. You know, you need to have, I suppose, you need to have the ability to transport goods up and down fairly easily. So the way we're going to do it is just build it much more gradually with alternating half slabs and full blocks. But for the half slabs, what we're going to do is on the underside, we'll place more half slabs so that it gives a nice thick and I suppose just kind of a sturdier look would be the best word. So we'll build that up, and yeah, once we've built up the ramp, we can just fill in the rest of the floor. So, you know, not too complicated. Just bear in mind you're going to have to leave headroom about here. I think we can come back one more block. Yeah, still plenty of space to pass. So yeah, that's about it for that phase. Oh, and just before I move on, I'd just like to add a little pillar in, so, you know, the floor doesn't look so unsupported. So yeah, that's it for that phase. I'm sure about it this time. So yeah, in this next phase, we've basically built up the pillars for the second floor, and so these are only 3 high, resting on top of what was previously there. And basically, yeah, you're going to alternate along the back wall with a 2 gap and then another pillar, and continue that along. Same along the side wall, but for the front wall, the upper floor is going to be jettied out. So basically, it's going to be 4 high total, but in addition, we're going to place an extra pillar here. Just because this is where the crane is going to be, the little winch thing. On the underside of these, it's good to put upside down stairs so that they look a bit more supported. I think in addition, what we're going to do is just fill in the front of this with wood, just because that way we can support the rest of the front wall, which is going to go on like so. Amazing. So yeah, let's move on to the next phase. So yeah, basically we're just going to fill in the side walls with cobble, like so. And then for the front walls and back walls, what we're going to do is we'll leave a gap in the center of the 3 blocks, and just fill in the rest with wood planks. Just because it looks a bit more sturdier than the wool, and it I don't know, it adds a nice effect later on with the iron bars that we use for windows, which in fact we can probably put in now instead, because that'll be a lot more efficient. So yeah, just use iron bars for windows. You can use glass if you like, but I always find iron bars just give places a much more industrial look, which is kind of what we're trying to go for with the Docklands and the warehouse in general. So yeah, that's about it for that phase. So yeah, for the crane, what we're going to do is place some wooden planks on like so. And this is where it gets a bit fiddly, because there's you need to place a few upside down stairs, and they don't like to be placed. So if you just place them like this, and then come onto the underside, and this will give a really nice slope and continue out. So yeah, basically what we want to do now is kind of build some sort of little winch thing so that it doesn't look so useless. There's a couple of ways of doing this. I think I talked about it in a previous video, it was pretty much the same winch, to be honest, but yeah, you could do it like that, or you can sort of reverse it and do it with upside down stairs, but it's up to you, really. The only kind of finishing touch is to put on a fence post. So if I can find one here, I'll put it on. This obviously represents a rope, so you know, something used for lifting stuff up and down off the first floor. So you know, kind of functional in the design. Well, functional in real life. In Minecraft, it has absolutely no use, but you know, you get the point. So yeah, that's it for that phase. Now for the roof, there's a number of things you can do. I'm just going to repeat the design I showed you earlier, but the problem is, right, it's kind of, because you have a funky shaped floor plan, it's always nice to have like a very kind of different looking roof, especially because, you know, when you have so many buildings that are all built out of the same material, if you change up the design so that it looks really abnormal or asymmetrical or whatever you want to call it, it can actually look a lot nicer when you're looking at it later and you've got everything all put together. So yeah, actually I think I'm just going to improvise for this roof, because, you know, what's the worst that could happen? I say before I cut ahead to a disastrous shot. So yeah, I'll just cut ahead now. So yeah, there we go. Sorry, I tend to build when I'm not talking, and if I'm on camera, I feel like I have to be talking. So you know, it's just easier for me to skip ahead sometimes. Anyway, yeah, this roof is pretty simple. It's just, you know, the best advice I can give for building roofs is just go from the outside and work your way in. Where it meets, sometimes you get some odd variations, but that's okay because, you know, adding variation is, I suppose, what makes a building unique. Um, so yeah, not a bad result. There's a couple of minor details you can add to the inside. There's plenty of ways for you to stack your chests. One of my kind of favorite ways would be if you place a block and then place them upside down steps. Um, Basically delete whatever the block was and place the chest on top. It gives like a shelf effect, and you can still open both the chests, which is you know, always a benefit. Except that chest doesn't seem to be opening, which is kind of worrying because it means I might be about to crash. Anyway, yeah, this is single player. That shouldn't have happened. Anyway, yeah, for the inside on the roof, what you can also do is if you place some upside down steps, it can give kind of a nice, nice kind of almost like a beam supporting it. You can maybe even chuck one in the center as well. That looks very nice. So yeah, you can kind of see it breaks up the interior of the roof. On the inside of this, basically you're just going to want to place chests everywhere. That's kind of what this is in terms of Minecraft functionality. It's just an excuse for a nice looking storage room. But yeah, I mean, it's not a bad looking building. It looks really in place in a dock. I just put some torches up and stuff. But yeah, I mean, aside from that, that's pretty much the essentials of our first building in this episode slash mini-series slash whatever you want to call it. Let's go for mini-series, like Game of Thrones. So yeah, that's it for the warehouse. Let's move on to the next one. Alright, so the first thing we want to cover is this crane. It's a pretty simple design. I suppose it's got all the essentials. It's got a little kind of winch thing, which is kind of like a hamster wheel, but those were actual genuine medieval things. So yeah, as you can see, it's pretty simple looking, but it's got all the essentials. So let's get started. Okay, so for starters, we're just going to build this small little structure here. It's pretty simple. I'm using pine logs in this case, though again, you can use whatever type of logs you want, whatever fits your town best. So as you can see, it's pretty simple structure to start off. Next up, we're going to do the actual big winch thing. So the easiest way to do this is basically if you build kind of a big square out of wooden planks, which is going to be, what will that be, 5 by 5, something like that. And then what we're going to do is come around on the inside with our wooden stairs and basically just place them around so it gives a much more rounded shape. Then for the outside, we're going to have to knock something out of the ground here, but ooh, that's not good. So yeah, and basically if we do this on the other side, and basically just replace all the corners with upside down stairs and, you know, upright stairs. That'll give a nice effect afterwards, and it, well, I mean, it looks like a, it looks like a winch, and that's the main thing. Or it looks like some sort of round treadmill type shape anyway. So that's the main point. Next up on the inside of the treadmill slash winch thing, we're going to place a kind of cross piece with wooden fence posts. And this just kind of shows a bit of framework more than anything else. We'll also place some additional fences just to kind of round off the shape as a whole. So that's that bit done. So next up we're going to build the actual mast itself, and I like to build it with about 6 blocks high, just because that's a decent height. But the thing is, you have to kind of I suppose fit it to your own village or dock, whatever you want to call it, because at the end of the day it's, you know, your own design that's going to that's going to need its own kind of customization. So, you know, if you've got some tall buildings around this thing, you can't you know, you have to build it a bit higher or whatever. So whatever suits. We're also going to put in these fence posts just next to it, just to kind of show a bit of a mechanism going on. Okay, so then we're going to place a wooden plank on top, and it depends on which direction you want to go. So let's say the crane is going to be pointing this way. So coming off the back, because this is now going to be the front, so this will be the back. What I'll do is place 3 planks here, and then place 8 planks on the other side. And that's the kind of general dimensions of it. For the counterweight, what we're going to do is come out 2 blocks, and I suppose the best way to just describe it is just build this shape that you see before you. So that's you know, about 3 by 3, but with the corners knocked off. We're going to place stairs in the corners, and that just gives it kind of a bit more rounded shape. Coming up the either side of this counterweight, we're going to place some wooden stairs, and then place them along so that they join up nicely with the whatchamacallit, the arm, whatever you want to refer to it as. On the bottom, I'm also going to place some wooden planks just to show a bit more support. And yeah, that's about it. So on the end here, we're going to place our rope, or well, fence posts. But yeah, basically you can come down as much or as little as you need to, whatever suits your own kind of building environment. On the end, we're also going to place a bit of wooden stairs, and I also like to just add some half slabs to the top, just to give a bit more detail and shape definition. But yeah, the rest of the details are pretty much up to you. There's also it's also a nice idea to put a ladder on it, just to give a bit more realism. So yeah, I tend to do that around the side somewhere. I suppose we can put it here and bring it up along this thing. So yeah, that's pretty much it for the crane. So let's move on to the next, I suppose the next building segment. That's probably the best way to refer to them as. So this next building is it's a small dock storage facility, storage house, whatever you want to call it. It's basically just a small building full of chests. And the idea behind it is that it's very small and compact, so that you can pretty much fit it in around your dockland, and helps populate the area and make it look a bit more, well, you know, a bit busier and a bit more full of buildings. It's pretty functional. It's got a little winch, and interior access is by ladder, so it's, you know, pretty bare essentials. But for the moment, let's get started on the tutorial. Okay, so for starters, we're going to lay the corner foundations. So basically, the floor plan of the ground floor is going to be 6 by 6 total, which means that there's going to be a gap of 4 in between each pillar. So it's, you know, a pretty small square, nothing too complicated. Next, we're going to fill in the walls with cobble, and we're also going to leave a little gap for the door. The floor on the ground can be anything you want. In this case, I'm going to put gravel, just as this gives a much more kind of rougher industrial style look. It's also nice to put in a little threshold, so just use a double slab for that. And that's pretty much the ground floor. For the next phase, what we're going to do is build some pillars just off the corners of the back of the building. So they're going to be 3 high. Leave a gap of 2, and then place another set of pillars. And then for the front, what we're going to do is place in some jettied out front parts. So they're going to be 4 high total. And we're also going to put in an additional pillar here, as it's going to help to support the winch and, well, make it look a lot nicer. So yeah, aside from that, we're going to start off by filling in the gaps with wooden planks all around the sides and the back. So just 1 layer of planks, and that's going to be followed by 2 layers of wool. We're also going to fill in the floor space with planks, and basically you can put a little staircase in, but I like to leave it with ladders, as it gives it a much more kind of rough and industrialized look. For windows, you can basically place them wherever you want. In this case, I'm only going to put them in the back, and just keep it nice and simple. We're also going to place some cross beams across, so the gables are going to be along the front and back walls, so we'll place them along here. And then on top of those, we're going to place a couple of tongue-tied. We're going to place a couple of little bits of wool. Sorry, that took a while to get out. So yeah, that's pretty much it for that phase. Let's move on to the crane. So basically, we're just going to start off by placing a couple of wooden stairs to represent kind of a roofy type thing. So we'll put those on either side, and then on the underside, we're going to give it a little bit more support. And yeah, that's pretty much it for the top. We're just going to place a little wooden stair in to give it a little kind of a jutting effect. So yeah, that's about it. For the roof, it's pretty standard. You can pretty much see the pattern it's going to have. Optionally, you can bring it down off the sides if you want, just to give it a bit of a bigger roof. Looks quite nice, so you know, it's your own call. And yeah, for the little bit where the 2 different, well, not 2 different roofs, but where the top of the crane meshes with the actual roof, there's a couple of things you can do. One would be to come down like this and basically just mold it all together well. It's really up to you. Whatever blends and works best for you is the main thing. For final details, there's not much left to do. What I might do is delete. Actually, no, I won't delete. I'll just chuck the sports in here, and I can probably also get rid of this and place another little support in, and it gives the building a much more kind of ramshackled and slightly more rough and ready look. I feel like I've said that sentence a few times. Let me get my fence. So yeah, so for windows you can put in iron bars like we did in the warehouse, or just fence posts to give it a bit of a cheaper look. And then same thing as the warehouse for the crane, we're just gonna bring it down with some just ordinary fence posts. We might attach something to the end of it, so you know, maybe some stone bricks, and the way we're going to attach it on is just get a trapdoor, and yeah, we'll stick this on the end and then add the trapdoors to make it look like it's kind of being gripped. And yeah, that's about it. That's a small storehouse. Let's look at the furnishings. So yeah, on the inside, the furnishings have been kept pretty simple, just some chests stacked up against the wall, and they've just been kind of given a little shelf. So just as a brief reminder, even though I did it a couple of minutes ago, but yeah, that's basically the way you do them. It's just upside down stairs, and then replace the top block with some chests. So we've got the same thing on the upper floor, and yeah, that's pretty much it. Pretty standard kind of small storage room. So that's about it. Alright, so now you can kind of see how all this would fit together. You can see I've got my top bases, with some variation obviously. Just got a little storehouse, there's a little jetty down below that. Big warehouse. Got our winches, got our big crane. You know, it all kind of fits together nicely. It looks like a, you know, pretty sweet Dockland area. You can see here I've just got some random goods, which I've put railroads over to make them look like they're tied down. And yeah, that's pretty much it for the tutorial, guys. Sorry if I've been a bit unclear at sometimes. My voice is a little screwed. But yeah, that is all for now. But there is some nice news coming up, so hope you guys stay tuned. And thanks for watching, if you don't. So see you guys soon. So yeah, a few fairly big announcements. First of all, you guys have probably noticed that I haven't actually put out a video for about 3 weeks, and basically for guys who follow my channel, you'll know that I had to fly home for a bit of a family emergency, but yeah, everything's all okay now, so yeah, I'm back, but at the same time, I haven't had much time to put out a video in this last week, just trying to catch up on work and stuff. But yeah, anyway, the kind of, I suppose, the main things to talk about are there is, okay, basically, okay, right, kind of long-winded here, but with the server, basically what we're doing is we're going to wait for the next patch, and once we get large biomes, we're going to regenerate the world, we're going to get whole new stuff. The previous server is, that's not good, the previous server is going to be released as a downloadable map, so anyone who's building on the server and you want your creations to look their best, I'd say start working on them now, and get them all finalized and looking great. And basically, come the next patch, we're going to regenerate the whole world. We're going to have Townie and Economy and a bunch of cool plugins that should make the whole thing a lot more competitive, and well, could make for some really awesome builds as well. So yeah, aside from that, we're going to have some new server mods. The one who I have contacted so far is TaylorWood/GoMix/TaylorWood Minecraft. So I'll have a link to his channel below. Who's been he's been following me for a long time. I think he was one of my first commenters. But yeah, no, I talked to him. He's happy to do the moderation job. So that'll really help out for the server. What we're gonna have is instead of sending me, you know, your in-game name and stuff, we'll have an application system on the website forums. So that should make the whole thing a lot more streamlined, as well as making it we can update it a lot more often. Because at the moment it's me, so whenever I'm asleep or at work and can't access my emails, then you know, you have to wait for several hours to get whitelisted. So there should be a lot more efficient way of doing it. We have several moderators set up. The other thing I want to talk about is oh yeah, well, obviously, and there will be more moderators. You might know who you are, you might not yet. I still have to contact people. I haven't had much chance of getting online this weekend because there's been some storms on, and I tend to sit outside when I'm chatting. This is really rambling, but yeah, I tend to sit outside when I'm chatting basically, and there's storms going on, so I can't really sit outside and chat at the moment. But yeah, the other thing I wanted to mention was that Smex has started his own channel, Smexarn, who you all probably know by now. So yeah, he's doing some let's plays and creative builds. I haven't talked to him in a couple of days, but anyway, last I heard he was planning on doing something epic anyway. So link to his channel is below in the description and in an annotation up here. I can't reach. Anyway, so yeah, that's about it for now. You guys should hopefully see some see some very cool changes coming to the server soon. Though, as I said, we're kind of leaving it until the next patch before we start heavily updating stuff, because it's going to be a whole new world anyway, so not much point in doing stuff now. I'm still trying to get warps fixed, so if anyone has any good suggestions for that, please leave them in the comments. We've had 3 people in trying to get them working, and they're just broken, so I think I'm just going to install a new plugin for the time being. But yeah, I guess that's all for now. So, thank you very much for watching. I've been Mr. Archer MC, and I'll see you guys soon. Bye.